Hello and welcome. I'm Abhishek Singh. You're watching Mint's all-new series on AI. For this episode, I've flown down to Hyderabad to visit one of Salesforce's centers of excellence. Here, I'll find out for you how AI-based solutions are designed, developed, and deployed. While here, I'll be meeting SVP and MD Sanket Atal. I'll also be talking to some startup founders and find out how AI-based solutions are helping them thrive and scale. In fact, I can already see Sanket here. Hello, Sanket, how are you?
Hi, Abhishek. Welcome to Salesforce.
Thank you so much. Well, let's walk in. Let's see what this office is all about.
Sure.
Thank
you, please.
Thank you. And just as somebody walks in, there is a coffee place right here, right?
Wake you up early in the morning.
Right.
Very fresh. So we have Yamuna and Rani here.
Right.
Excellent baristas. Can we have some coffee, please? What would you like to have?
I think I'll go with a cappuccino.
Okay, cappuccino and a black coffee, please. Thank you.
Right. And in fact, as I was walking in, corner of my eye, I saw yet another mascot. That's Einstein, of course.
Yes. So you've been hearing a lot about the AI story for Salesforce.
Right.
And AI is symbolized by Einstein, one of our mascots. We began our AI journey around 2014 when we established an R&D team.
Right.
And the first release of it was Einstein, and hence this mascot right here.
Right.
Oh,
the
perfect.
coffee.
Look at them. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Yamuna. Thank you, Rani.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you. All right. Oh boy. Yet another set of mascots?
We're all about fun. You know, the pioneers of SaaS, we're a cloud company. The goat is called Cloudy.
Right.
Yeah. And this is Cody, because we're all about writing state-of-the-art code.
Right.
Yeah. And all of it, again, is in the spirit of going on a trail, discovering, trailblazing, and being at the frontier of technology.
Right. So should we go in?
Absolutely.
And we can walk in
Let's do
with
that.
this mug of coffee, or should
course,
we?
yeah.
All right. Yeah, when you're with the boss. How many floors in this building?
There are 20 floors here.
Right. And couple of towers or?
So we're spread across 3 towers.
Okay.
And this is the latest addition to the Hyderabad office.
Yeah. Oh wow. The doors are open ajar.
And I want to point out, Abhishek, that
Yeah.
we are very customer centric.
Right.
So all our screensavers, etc., have customers there.
Right.
So every single employee realizes
Yeah.
customers are first.
Right. I think I'm done with my coffee.
Me too.
All right.
Yeah, let's put it away.
Okay.
Here you go.
Okay. So I'm a little clumsy, and that did show. Salesforce's program for startups is roughly 2 years old, fairly new.
Yep.
What's the kind of response you've seen?
So the response has been tremendous, and essentially what we wanted to do was provide the kind of environment that our Trailblazers have. The Trailblazers is a global community of Salesforce users, people associated with Salesforce, helping each other, doing a lot of CSR work as well. So we wanted to do the same thing with startups, which is unlike any other company in the world. And frankly, Abhishek,
Yeah.
I didn't think it would succeed.
Right.
It was an experiment, but it's succeeded beyond my dreams. We have more than 300 startups. They've joined. We have helped them quite a bit. You'll hear about 2 of the success stories.
Sure.
But in turn, these startups are helping others. And to me, that's the biggest sign of success. And
Right.
the demand is huge. We have to turn away a lot of startups today, but now we're expanding. And we're expanding to other regions also.
Sanket, thank you so much for showing me the office. And now's the time when you're going to introduce me to a couple of startup founders who've been waiting for us apparently.
Yeah.
And let's go talk to them.
Absolutely.
Hi. Hi,
Good to
Sanket.
see you. This is
Same here.
Abhishek.
Nice meeting you,
Nice
Rajat.
meeting you.
Vishesh, good to see you again. This is
Nice
Abhishek.
meeting you, Vishesh.
Hi, Abhishek. Nice meeting.
Please, gentlemen, let's
you.
sit down. Ladies and gentlemen, for over last 10 minutes or so, we have been hearing from Sanket about what Salesforce does, the cutting-edge AI-powered business solutions it is building for startups and organizations. Now is the time for us to talk to some startup founders about the kind of solutions that Salesforce has been, of course, making for Vishesh Singhal of Cloudfile and Rajat Shukla. You have been using these solutions, right? So let's start with you, Rajat. Tell us a little bit about your company first, because you're a fairly new organization.
Right. Thanks, Abhishek. We are App EQ, and we work with revenue retention and expansion teams, and we work very closely with Salesforce in the direction. What we inherently do is we bring in the data of the customers and bubble up insights for the revenue retention expansion teams to help them be more on the response side of it, as well as be on top of all the signals which are coming in. And now, since we talk about huge data, AI brings in that flexibility to bring in, concise it, and make it much more consumable for the front-end teams to handle the customers.
All right. Vishesh, thank you for joining us. And Cloudfile. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Cloudfile, and then, of course, we will, with the assistance of Sanket, try and figure out how AI can come in and sort of help startups like yours.
Yeah, so Cloudfiles is a AI and automation tool for business documents. So you see, documents are part of all the business processes, and business processes are in CRM for most of the people, right? For most of the businesses, but documents have been a bottleneck on automation because computers are not very good. Till now they were not in reading documents, working with them, but humans were good. For computers, you needed to structure everything. Now with the advancement in AI, that had changed. So now we have the technology that computers can work with documents as good as they can work with the other structured data like tables and all. So that's what Cloudfiles is doing. We are bringing the power of automation to documents also, and in doing so, we are making documents part of the entire process and making the whole thing more efficient.
So Sanket, if you could come in and tell us what is Salesforce in terms of solutions is doing for a startup like Cloudfile.
So it's a very interesting scenario. Like any other company, any other enterprise company, we have fantastic products powering some of the top companies in the world, but we can't do everything ourselves. And so, as you know very well, that we're at the forefront of AI, forefront of enterprise AI. We're democratizing access to AI, but there are certain aspects which really need to be addressed. So Vishesh's solution is absolutely fantastic because it augments what we have got, managing storage of various documents, and in addition to that, leveraging AI to be able to decipher those documents and make them usable. And I'm very curious though, Vishesh, what kind of efficiencies have you experienced or have your customers experienced by virtue of leveraging AI?
Yeah, I think you can completely remove a manual process and you can remove the dependency on humans, and that helps you a lot. So what happens is now
that sounds so dark and ominous.
It does. See, no, I will talk about it. Artificial intelligence is not a replacement for human intelligence, but it's a replacement for non-intelligent work. There's nothing intelligent looking at a document and saying it's an Aadhaar card or it's a driver's license.
Right.
So computer should be doing it.
So when it comes to the kind of solutions that Salesforce has offered both to Cloudfile and AppEQ, what's your experience been? How has it aided in your journey, helped you grow?
Yeah, so we started the company 3 years back, and we were not in Salesforce at the start of it. So for 1 year, we saw a normal growth, but then 2 years back, we brought our product to Salesforce ecosystem, and it just skyrocketed. So what we get from Salesforce is the community. The support is fantastic. Sanket with the Start program has been helping a lot, and in general, the community is very helpful. But at the same time, it also gives you access to Salesforce's customers, which are some of the biggest customers in the world. So. And you also get the trust and all the brand of Salesforce when you go with the ecosystem. So with all that combined for a startup, I would say it's like a cheat code. You just accelerate your growth a lot. So for us, it has been a game changer.
Aren't you already feeling that it's been a great morning? I mean, such lovely words about what Salesforce is doing.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Which brings me to you. And the question that I have for you is, of course, for more established organizations, developing solutions is perhaps, I don't know whether it's easier or not, but there certainly has to be some distinction in terms of what you're developing for, let's say, a more established organization versus for a startup coming in like Cloudfile and, of course, AppEQ. So what are those differences? What do you do differently for startups versus a more established organization?
So I'll answer that question in two parts, Abhishek. So one part is the actual technology. So both Vishesh and Rajat are running their companies on Salesforce. And our products are scalable, they're on the cloud. So earlier there used to be a big differentiator between enterprise usage of software and startup usage of software. Because to actually use something enterprise grade, you need to have a data center. You need to have people manning all those things. Now, we are the pioneers of SaaS, which basically democratizes access to all this state-of-the-art technology. So the two of them are running on the same technology that Fortune 500 companies are running on. this gives them an advantage, but they're only consuming whatever they need to. Right. So that's where the startup part comes in, and they're doing spectacularly well.
One thing which no conversation about AI and data can ever be complete is talking about data privacy and customer security. I mean, that point keeps getting mentioned again and again and again, and that's perhaps also because the threat is so serious, right? If things are not taken care of right at the beginning, then yes. So Vishesh, with you, then of course with Rajat, that's one thing that I also want to talk to you guys about is to what extent such tools are safe for people like me. In this case, perhaps we're even talking about some B2B clients. To what extent and what kind of precautions do you take to ensure that their data is safe, data privacy is not a problem that they have to deal with?
I think when any enterprise software is built, data privacy is something that you have to keep in mind from the beginning. And all the AI tools, if you see, a lot of the budget of R&D that that these large language models and everything, it goes on the AI safety. So this is about not to have the biases or the hallucinations in the AI product. So that is one, and second, in terms of the customer data, all these models, they train in a very anonymous way. So even if, let's say, they have some data to train on, they don't know that who this data is about, right? So that's where I think there is not a lot of problem. But then for the business data, what Salesforce has done, there's a trust layer, and that you can do. Even Cloudfiles has its own trust layer where when the data goes out and talks to a AI model, at that time it's completely disassociated from the customer information, the personal information. So there's not much concern about that. Softwares, enterprise software especially, which are used with the businesses, that they're built keeping this in mind. So it's just like there is a resistance, just like there was a resistance initially moving to the cloud.
Right.
But then cloud provided you, in fact, a lot more security than there would be if the data was on people's individual computers, right? So the AI is going to do the same way. It's going to go the same way where people are putting a lot of focus on the data privacy and security, and the rewards are also at the same time huge.
Going forward, more and more checks and balances are being put in place to ensure that customers can sleep easy. That's great to hear.
And these are all audited now. So we have external auditors who come in and do these audits, and these reports are available for customers to refer. So this, similar to say when you hire an employee, you have the whole background checks done, and now you have all those things pre-done, right, for startups. So then you work with us, you have all these checks and done, and you can directly get into business and start working on things.
Right. And now in this part, the final part of this conversation, what I want to talk about, since we've been talking about startups, when it comes to capital, when it comes to money, at the initial stages at least, once you are a unicorn, I mean, probably it's a different story, slightly different story, if not dramatically different. That's one thing which is almost always a concern, right? Now, when it comes to that, Vishesh, first I will of course speak to these gentlemen, and then I'll come to you, Sanket. Vishesh, when you were sort of considering these solutions, to what extent cost was a problem, a hassle in your head, and how did you come to sort of accept that, okay, this is what I will have to dish out, but it's going to be worth it at the end because?
Yeah, see, two things here. So one is technology has reduced the cost for starting up a lot. So AI is democratized now. I don't have to build a large language model from the ground up.
Right.
So it's very cheap, and you pay for what you use. So if you are using something, it's because someone else is paying for that to you. So technology wise, there's very little cost. Secondly, with the help of Salesforce, especially with Salesforce's startup ecosystem, the cost to entry in the market has also been reduced for us. For example, Salesforce hosts a lot of events across the world throughout the year, right? And that's where we can go put up a booth and get customers from there. That's our marketing. Now, imagine if I had to do the entire event myself and get people to that event, it would have been very expensive, right?
Yeah.
So when you work with a program like Salesforce or any other incubator or anything, I think in Salesforce ecosystem, it's just very affordable to get started and to directly talk to big customers. And for the success of any...
So to a startup founder who's I don't know, sitting somewhere in Bangalore or Delhi, Chennai, or some tier 2, tier 3 city, your advice would be that, it's absolutely okay. This is a cost which is at the end of the day going to be worth it. And at the same time, it's also becoming more and more affordable now.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Sanket, in your experience, because everybody is talking about the fact that the costs have dramatically come down. For startups, like I said earlier, in tier 2, tier 3 towns, who would love to sort of, be part of such ecosystems, where things are.
I'll answer that, Abhishek, by talking about the 3 T's. The first part is because the costs are everywhere, complexities are everywhere, right? So the first part is of the 3 T's is talent, right? One of the big issues earlier for startups was how do you attract the right talent, and do they come prepared to work on all the technologies that are needed? Today, talent in India is quite adventurous. They are more than willing to take risks with startups. And plus, access to information, access to courses, access to various technologies become really easy. In fact, Salesforce has Trailhead Academy, where all of our courses are available for free. So companies like Rajat's and Vishesh's can actually get people who have raw intelligence but perhaps not direct knowledge of what they're doing, get them trained up in a very short amount of time and get going. Right. The other part is the technology part, which was just mentioned. In 2 ways. One thing is when you're developing your product, earlier the default was let's develop from the ground up. Yeah. Today, amazing platforms are available for you to base things on. Yeah. So hence your robustness is much better because those platforms are well tested and your time to market is shorter.
And so startups don't need to reinvent the wheel.
They don't need to reinvent exactly, and hence your ROI is much faster. So I can't quantify the ROI, but I can say that definitely you reduce it by an order of magnitude, you reduce your cost by an order of magnitude, and your ROI returns are amplified. And the other part is that there's a tendency by smart technologists when they start a company to do everything ourselves. Right? Let's do our own ledger. Let's create our own mini CRM system.
Vishesh, is that true?
That has changed. I mean, it's been a decade now as a founder, and that has changed. Yes.
Right.
So yes. with the technologies available today, smart people like Rajat are able to leverage technologies like Salesforce and other companies, so that the companies can run on those and they can focus on the core competencies, right? And that is a very, very important part of what has changed. And this allows them also to have more of a product focus rather than just a technology development focus. And finally, the third part is you can develop your product, but you need access to market. You need access to be able to connect with customers. And that has also become quite easy now, because you can be sitting in Bengaluru, you can be sitting in Hyderabad and address a market in France. Not just France, you can target Paris. In fact, you can target a particular locality in Paris sitting right here. So the combination of these 3 T's have set an amazing foundation for companies to thrive, and startups are, the Indian startup ecosystem is doing really, really well today, all because of this current state of the situation.
Wonderful, wonderful. So gentlemen, thank you so much for taking other time. Both of you have flown in from Bengaluru, and Sanket for showing me around the office, and of course for this wonderful conversation. I'm sure people who are watching this out there who want to know what's happening in the world of AI, who want to start up, what kind of things, what kind of solutions already exist, etc. It'll be known to them now. And of course, this episode is part of this 6-episode long series. So I suppose all the questions around AI, big data will get answered by the end of it. But gentlemen, thank you so much for this conversation.
Thank you so much.